In the headlines, INEC convenes stakeholders summit to address influence of money in politics ahead of 2023 elections. Traders affected in Lagos market demolition cry out over loss of investment. World Bank report says 80 million Nigerians may be jobless by 2030. And on the international scene, Thai Navy searches for 31 sailors after vessel sinks. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. INEC has convened a stakeholders meeting in Abuja to address influence of money in politics ahead of 2023 elections. Law enforcement agencies like police, EFCC and ARCON are attending the summit. The summit is coming at a crucial time with 68 days to the elections. Addressing the summit, INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu said the meeting will deliberate on ways to tackle the issue of vote buying, noting that the beavers have come to stay. Cross-section of prospective voters in Nigeria have expressed their determination to fully participate in the next year's elections scheduled to commence from February 25th. The respondents told Trust TV's Shafi'u Suleiman that armed with their permanent voters' cards and confident with the reforms in the nation's electoral process, they remain upbeat that their votes will count. The report.
It is slightly above 60 days when Nigerians will go to the polls again to elect another set of leaders in another round of election in the Fourth Republic, which has stretched from 1999 to date. How prepared are Nigerians to exercise their democratic franchise is what we are set out to hear.
As for me, I'm prepared for the election fully.
Personally, I am prepared because I'm duly registered and I have my PVC.
Very prepared, waiting for the date.
My PVC is ready and everything is ready as a citizen.
I've always done election. I look forward to it and I cast my vote.
As at the last count, INEC, which is the election management body in Nigeria, says there are 96.2 million registered voters for the next year's election. Some say this number is quite unprecedented and, of course, encouraging. But how sure are Nigerians that their votes will count?
Why my vote will count is because I'm very, very important and relevant as a citizen of Nigeria.
The INEC chairman himself and Buhari himself have assured Nigerians that the election will be free and fair. And with the training of beavers, which the INEC chairman has consistently assured us, I believe that when I cast my vote, it will count. My vote will count. INEC is doing a good job to make this election fair and fair, and I believe my vote will count.
But the performance of the people we vote for are just below expectation.
With the introduction of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, and the INEC result viewing IREP portal, coupled with the body language of President Muhammadu Buhari wanting to leave a legacy of free and fair election, and the assurances given by security agencies in the country of ensuring a neutral and, of course, a level playing ground for the elections, Nigerians are just hopeful that the vote will count. Shafi'u Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Former national chairmanship aspirant of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Umaru Tanko Almakura, has promised continuous loyalty and support for the victory of the party's presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the 2023 general elections. The former Nasarawa state governor made the promise when he visited Asiwaju Tinubu Sunday in Abuja. Addressing reporters after the visit, Almakura said he visited the presidential candidate of the APC to register his loyalty and support for his mandate to contest for the position of president. Almakura added that the APC presidential candidate was happy for his visit and promised to ensure that every Nigerian enjoys his policies of inclusion towards the nation's democratic, social, and economic growth and development. The Supreme Court has affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which declared the purported deregistration of the Youth Party illegal, null and void. The Apex Court, in its unanimous judgment, dismissed the appeal filed by the Independent National Electoral Commission and held that the Youth Party is a registered political party eligible to participate in 2023 elections. The Apex Court justices, led by Justice Uwaniaji, upheld the decision of the Federal High Court Abuja delivered by Justice Iyang Ekwo that declared the purported deregistration of the party illegal, null and void, and that of the Court of Appeal also found the action of the appellant very reprehensive. The Youth Party had, through its lawyers, Chief Bolaji Ayorinde SAN, urged the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal and uphold the judgment of the lower court. Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission has demanded funding partners to fulfill their obligations to meet the needs of the people. Managing Director of Hyperdeck, Abubakar Yelwa, made the demand in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria on Sunday in Minna. He said that the enormous initiatives outlined by the federal government for the commission would be met only through the cooperation and support of funding partners.
Our major concern now is, despite all these problems, our major concern is funding. I'm happy to inform you that the states and local government have been making their contributions very well. And in fact, the major aspect of our funding ability now is as a result of that funding. The 10% that we are supposed to enjoy from GENCOS is not forthcoming. And a lot of legal issues came up. And we are now, because of those legal issues, unable to access that. And even what the legal issues favor, that is the payment of 10% of concession fee that the GENCOs are paying to the federal government, is not forthcoming. Of the two GENCOs that are operating, only one was, at least we can say, consistent with the payment of concession. The other one is not consistent at all. It's not paying. So that's our major concern, funding. And for the fund, it's not forthcoming at the same time. Well, as you rightly know, and I know also, the federal government is facing a lot of challenges with its dwindling revenue base, and that has been responsible for its incapacity to meet up that obligation. But we are still pushing. We are hoping that by the time the system realizes the impact of the commission and what it stands to do, it will be able to make this funding accessible.
On a sad note, traders at the Mile 12 market whose shops were demolished by Ikoshi Sherry Local Council Development Authority in Lagos State have cried out over the loss of their investments. Those affected by the demolition at the Red Bridge section of the market say that they were not given any notice. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi now reports.
The traders allege that the chairperson of the Ikosi Isheri LCDA ordered thugs who stormed the area in their company of security operatives to demolish a section of the market. A victim, Usman A. Salu, said he woke up early on Thursday and noticed that hoodlums had invaded the area, removing shop roofs and causing destruction. He said, "We just saw them removing the roofs of our buildings. Majority of the people living in the area are Hausa traders from the north." Another victim, Fatima Folabi, disclosed that she was told that someone has purchased the place as the LCDA has sold the area. She said if that is the case, they should have given them time to remove their belongings from the buildings. Also, Abdulaziz Bomiwa, who operates a POS center, said his shop was burgled by the hoodlums and that he lost property was 2 million naira.
We are showing ball, we are doing some business, and We have other shops outside that are doing POS. They disrupt everything. They just broken. So you understand? Without our own consent, at least they must supposed to be automated. We give you guys 3 months to pack our stuff. There is nothing. They just come over. They disrupt everything. They loot all our things. Go to the gate. My shop now, I lose millions of naira because I'm doing POS. Before I come in the morning, they just remove the gate, remove everything. They loot what I have inside the shop.
The victims have therefore called for justice in the matter.
So what we are appealing for now, the state government should just come in and because we are fighting for justice now. Even though they want to remove the market, well, this country there is law that back everything.
All efforts to reach the woman leader of the market and the chairperson of Ikosi Isheri LCDA were not successful. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Away from that story, Federal Capital Fire Service has called on management of filling stations across the city to ensure adequate training of their staff and tanker drivers to prevent the incessant fire outbreaks witnessed in the last 2 weeks. The acting director of the service made the call during a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, blaming the frequent occurrence of fire incidents on the non-adherence to fire safety measures of filling stations. The report.
In the last 2 weeks, Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, witnessed over 3 different fire outbreaks and explosions of tankers while discharging fuel at filling stations. A worrisome situation which had led to a threat by the Federal Capital Emergency Management to shut down all stations that failed to adhere to fire safety measures. In a bid to curtail these fire outbreaks in the city, the Federal Capital Fire Service convened a stakeholder sensitization meeting to appeal to filling station managers to always discharge their products at cold hours and to also ensure that their fire defense equipment are functional in the case of fire outbreak.
The weather is dry. Water moisture in the atmosphere is very, very low. And the kinetic energy of the electrons on the body of the trucks are very high. Then you see this differential static voltage is also very high.
For all the filling stations, they must have functional fire safety, functional fire defense equipment in their filling station. The LPG gas must have sprinkler head upon them that will be cooling down the body, especially during this heat period.
While drawing the attention of stakeholders on their role to combat the menace of fire outbreaks, especially during this festive period, the acting director of the Federal Capital Fire Service calls for adequate sensitization among its staff.
We are drawing their attention so that for the much challenges saddled before them, they should adhere strictly on the fire safety sensitization, and that is exactly what we have given them. They should observe it strictly, and if they observe this one strictly, what we told them in the meeting, fire outbreak will be things of the past concerning all these filling stations.
The fire service also says that it will work with security agencies to ensure that filling stations follow the standard procedure of discharging products.
The Cross River State Government has confirmed that 20 people have died of cholera in Ekuraku community. The Director General of Cross River Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Janet Ekbayong, who spoke to newsmen, also said 30 other people in the community have been hospitalized. Ekbayong said the Cross River State Government has now deployed human and material resources to bring the cholera outbreak under control. She said proactive measures have been taken to prevent further spread of the disease in the affected villages in Ekuraku in Abi local government area of the state, adding that the deaths could have been avoided if protocols were followed in the affected villages. You're watching Trust News Updates, coming up after the break. Rising cost of food items ahead of Christmas celebration. Do stay with us.
My people, how do you feel when you see bulldozers demolish beautiful but illegally built private houses, estates, or plazas? Agony and pain. That is exactly what the FCT administration feels also. No responsible government is happy to inflict pain on her people by demolishing any property. Are you planning to acquire a piece of land? Avoid buying land from indigents or local chiefs or any other unauthorized source, as doing so could ruin your valuable investment. Only the Minister of FCT allocates land in Abuja. So, to acquire a piece of land in Abuja, go to the Abuja Geographic Information Systems, popularly known as AGIS, and obtain the relevant application form. Also, visit the FCDA Mass Housing Department to check the genuineness of land title before you acquire any property in any of the housing estates in Abuja. Do the right thing. Don't be a victim. This message is from the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that INEC convened stakeholders summit to address influence of money in politics ahead of 2023 elections. You also heard that traders affected in Lagos market demolition cry out over loss of investment. Moving to more news, the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency has sent 15 vessels carrying hazardous materials into Nigeria back to their countries of origin. Nesria Director General Aliyu Jauro told newsmen in Abuja on Sunday that the vessels were laden with chemicals and electronics harmful to the environment. He cautioned that government will not allow any importer to turn Nigeria into a dumping ground for hazardous materials. Jauro said particularly disturbing was the importation of used refrigerants and chemicals used in refrigeration that should not be allowed into any society because of their risk levels. Less than a week to Christmas, prices of essential commodities have risen beyond the reach of the common man. Some traders who spoke to Trust TV in Yola noted that the prices of commodities have been unpredictable for months now. The report.
Expectation ahead of Christmas and New Year festive season among many Nigerians appears gloomy owing to the hiking prices of food items. This is Jamaica Shopping Complex, where some essential food items become increasingly difficult for people with low budget to purchase due to price increments almost daily. Traders here said the high cost of food and non-food items ahead of festivities were testimonies of Nigeria's harsh economic condition, explaining further that many people may celebrate the Yuletide low-key.
Maza mudu biyu ka yanzu gongon biyu gongon uku wahala ka akwai wahala ba karamin wahala ke sha yanzu gaskiya talaga yana shan wahala.
The rise in the price of foodstuff these days is alarming. Many of our customers who used to buy their foodstuff in bulk are now buying in measures. The situation is actually disturbing, and we are just praying that God will see us through.
Hada kawai ake yanzu ga kaya nan duk mun kakkasa mun dai zo nan muna jira. My brother, as
you know, this is one of the busiest markets in Jamaica. As you can see, it's almost empty. Our brothers and sisters who are getting ready in few days to celebrate Christmas are not coming because they don't have money. Food items such as rice, vegetable oil, frozen and live chickens, tomato paste, pepper, and other ingredients which are essential for Christmas and New Year celebrations are beyond the reach of many.
Gaskiya abubuwa ba abin da za mu ce sai dai Ubangiji Allah ya kawo mana sauki.
A lot of people survive based on what they earn per month. And of course, price of commodities has increased, but the income has not. I believe many people will celebrate the Yuletide in an unusual way.
Akan samu kara naira 3,000 mafi karancin kenan haka wanda in karamin yaro ma zai iya ci. Akwai 10,000 ko 11,000 zuwa ƙasa.
Although Christmas is few days ahead from now, chickens here are very much affordable, ranging from 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 and above. It depends on what type.
Residents said the increase in price of foodstuffs in Adamawa may not be unconnected with the recent floods which wreaked more damage to farm produce. From Yola, Silas Lowen, Trust TV News.
The World Bank has disclosed that 80 million working-age Nigerians will not have a full-time job by 2030 if the nation doesn't improve its employment rate. The Global Bank disclosed this in its Nigeria Development Update, December 2022, Nigeria's Choice Report. It added that 23 million more Nigerians will live in extreme poverty by 2030 if the nation's poverty rate does not fall. It stated that creating better jobs is a necessary condition if the nation wants to reduce poverty and increase economic transformation. According to the bank, most poverty in Nigeria is in-work poverty, and having any job does not guarantee a way out of poverty. It stated that employment in agriculture is far more prevalent among those that are poor. The Global Bank stated that while Nigeria was one of the best growth performers globally in the 2000s, it failed to build institutions that could foster structural transformation and job creation. According to the World Bank, unlocking private investment will create more and better quality jobs in a sustainable manner in the nation, since the private sector is at the heart of the development process and has been a critical component in every sustained growth success story around the world. Reactions have continued to trail introduction of cash withdrawal limit by Central Bank of Nigeria. Jimmy Adzande reports that the youth in Makurdi, Benue State urged the Apex Bank to listen to the voices of ordinary Nigerians and reverse the policy. The report.
It is like a foregone issue, but not for many who need more education on what the policy entails. Youth population in Makurdi share the views of many Nigerians across the nation.
The policy is going to be of more harm to the low or poor masses in the society. If there is a way they can do this, that they won't be able to use the percentage, like there's no need of removing percentage from money. If I plan to withdraw more than 20,000, it wouldn't affect me. I think it will be actually nice.
Not good for the society. Because especially now, come to think of it, why would they say the least you can withdraw in a POS is 20,000 naira? If you should withdraw more than that, there will be deduction of 5 to 10%. That is absolutely wrong.
They made a case for people who live in hinterlands and do not have access to banks and the internet for transactions. This segment of the youth felt the CBN may not have noticed the majority of Nigerians are still not conversant with ICT and yet transacting hundreds of thousands on a daily basis.
It doesn't favor the common man at all, and I want to rephrase my statement. This is the highest level of maltreatment and frustration to the common man.
It has its disadvantage as in a case of urgency, there won't be enough or sufficient money in availability, and coming to the grassroots, which is the normal poor, the mass, the poor people. If you have an urgent need to attend to, and the only amount you can withdraw a day in your ATM or post of sale is 20,000.
They appreciate the intervention of the National Assembly and called on the CBN not to add to the woes of the masses of this country.
But I see the policy is too stringent to the citizens. But there should be a kind of levity, a kind of a soft ground that the government should give, especially the less privileged. People that are less privileged, that open accounts, does not have much money in their account, and then if they are going to withdraw in case of maybe they have an emergency, then it will be difficult for them exceeding that 20,000 naira a day. So the government should look into that issue to work on the policy to favor also the less privileged.
Recall that the CBN announced that beginning from January 2023, withdrawal limit per day for individuals will be 20,000 naira and 100,000 naira per week. The youths are worried that this might not be realizable, considering the agrarian nature of most Benue communities.
On the foreign scene, Thai military frigates and helicopters were on Monday searching for 31 sailors after a naval vessel sank, with dozens of others having been hauled from choppy waters. The HTMS Sukhothai capsized late on Sunday night as it was patrolling the Gulf of Thailand, about 37 kilometers off the nation's southwestern coast. Some sailors survived by jumping into a life raft at night, according to images shared by the Royal Thai Navy, which said 75 people had been rescued. And finally, in sports, Argentina are 2022 World Cup champions for the third time after beating France on penalties in the final in Qatar. Gonzalo Montiel scored the winning spot kick to give the South Americans a 4-2 victory in the shootout after a frantic game ended 3-3 after extra time. Lionel Messi scored twice and Angel Di Maria netted for the Argentines, while France's Kylian Mbappe became the first player since Geoff Hurst in 1966 to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. Argentina eventually triumphed to seal their third world title, with Messi crowning an extraordinary career by lifting the golden trophy at Lusail Stadium. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.